Welcome to the DrRcraft CSS transitions tutorial. Normally when an element's CSS property is altered, the change appears instantly with no animation. Transitions can help solve this problem as they can add an animation to property changes and make it smoother. Let's take a look at some transition properties and see how we can use them. So as you can see here, I've created a div element which will set to have a transition. So currently it's not styled, but we can give it some styles for the animation. So for example, we can set a background color to red. After this, we can add a hover effect using the hover pseudo class, and we can change the background color to gold. So now if we run this, you can see that when we hover over the div element, it will change to a gold background. So we've created a dynamic property, but currently there's no transition between the red and gold backgrounds. So we have to add a transition for this property using the transition property. And we can set this to background color so that the background color has a transition. And when we run it, it still does not have a transition. This is because we have to define the duration of the transition using the transition duration property. And you can set this to any number of seconds. I'm just going to set it to 0.5 seconds so that it changes relatively quickly. So if we run it, the background color changes with the transition when we hover over. Besides being able to customize the duration, there are also some more things that can be done with this. For example, we can add a delay to the transition so that it only plays after a couple of seconds. So if we set this to 1 second delay, then the animation will only play after 1 second to start switching the background color. Along with the background color, we can also add other transitions for different properties, such as text color. So we can set the default text color to be purple and the text color when hovered to be blue. And then we can define it in the transition property. And now, as you can see, the text color changes as well. Now that we've finished making our transition, let's look at how to make the code shorter. In order to shorten our code, we can make use of the shorthand transition property. And in order to define a transition using the shorthand property, first we need to input our property. So we'll start with background color, since it's the first one we use here. And then we have to put the duration, and then the delay. And then we have to repeat those steps all over again for each of our transition properties. When using the transition shorthand, all the components of the transition are separated by spaces, and all transition definitions are separated by commas. Now that we're done shortening the code, we can get rid of these old lines that we've previously used. And if we run it, we can see that it works exactly the same as before. It's just that the transition definition is shortened. This concludes the CSS transitions tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Nice.